The 10 most dangerous jobs in the world. Number 7 can earn $3 million in 5 days, but one trip costs one life. Number 1 has a mortality rate as high as 99%, and even insurance companies refuse to provide coverage. This isn't going to work. This is going to the execution ground. You might think your 9 to 9, 6 days a week schedule is miserable, but that's probably because you haven't seen these jobs. From the underwater construction divers who are told they'll get $20,000 for coming up, but their family gets $2 million if they don't, to the honey hunters whose salaries look like something out of a drama, but who can disappear in the blink of an eye, and the loggers who seem to compete with giant trees to see who falls first. Just one glance at these jobs is enough to make your legs feel weak and your vision go dark. Among these high-risk professions that send a chill down your spine, which one's making it into the top 10? Today, let's explore the 10 most dangerous jobs in the world, each one more heart-pounding than the last. We look forward to your subscription and likes. Number 10, honey hunters. These people you see climbing up steep cliffs are not adventure enthusiasts. They are the honey hunters living at the southern foot of the Himalayas. They harvest the world's most delicious honey while engaging in one of the world's most dangerous jobs. Around mid-May each year, the local people in Nepal prepare for the annual honey hunt. They often work with perfect coordination and a clear division of labor, either climbing to the treetops or hanging directly from the sheer cliffs. Their only protective measure is a rickety rope ladder, and their only tool is a long bamboo pole. This honey is also called liquid gold. A single hive can only produce 20 to 40 kilograms of honey per year. It was once a delicacy reserved exclusively for the royal family of Nepal. The price per kilogram can be as high as $3,500, which is about 110,000 new Taiwan dollars. To harvest this honey, one must venture to the cliffs of the Himalayas to find the home of the world's largest bee, the Himalayan giant honeybee. These bees collect nectar from the blooming rhododendrons in the Himalayan mountains. This unique environment keeps the nectar free from urban pollution, giving it extremely high nutritional and medicinal value. These large black bees can survive in cold, harsh environments and build giant hives on cliffs hundreds of meters above the ground. These bees seem to like everything oversized. Their hives are much larger than those of ordinary bees, some reaching up to 2 meters in length. The bees themselves are also several times larger than common bees, with some growing up to 20 millimeters long. Besides their love for large sizes, these giant black bees are extremely aggressive. They feed on poisonous flowers year-round, causing a certain amount of toxins to accumulate in their bodies. If the honey hunters anger the bees and are attacked by the swarm, escape is nearly impossible. The slightest mistake can send them falling from the cliff to their doom. Even though this job is incredibly dangerous, the people who have lived here for generations continue to brave the cliffs to harvest honey. It is their most important source of income, and they must take this risk for their families to survive. Number 9, test pilot. In the movie Born to Fly, the character Lei Yu, played by Wang Yibo, is a test pilot. For many people, this movie was their first introduction to this profession. If you were to describe a test pilot in one sentence, it would be a group of ordinary people doing earth-shattering things. Their job is to fly planes that no one has ever flown before, and to perform maneuvers that no one has ever attempted. Before any aircraft is fully approved, a pilot must take it to the sky and push it to its absolute limits to understand its performance capabilities. Only after hundreds or even thousands of test flights and challenges prove it's fully qualified can the aircraft receive its pass to the blue sky. They have to identify existing problems with the aircraft and predict potential future issues. While providing reasonable explanations, they must also report on flight conditions and offer suggestions for improvement. It's like a parent demanding their child master Chinese, math, English, and physical education all at the same time. Most people simply don't have that kind of multitasking ability. Before a test pilot takes a new plane into the sky, no one can be certain what safety hazards might still exist. They're like explorers on the edge of a dark cliff, flying an aircraft that could fail at any moment. They have to take this time bomb and complete highly difficult technical challenges, including some extreme maneuvers. to return to the ground safely. A test pilot must remain highly vigilant and be ready to handle any emergency that arises. Once an accident occurs, they can't rely on anyone but their own superb piloting skills. The rest is left to luck. Due to the high risk, the mortality rate for test pilots reached an all-time high in the 1950s, with an average of one pilot losing their life every week. After the 1960s, as aviation technology matured, more accurate ground tests and simulations could predict potential accidents, causing the risk factor to drop significantly. But even today, this dangerous profession still has a mortality rate as high as 0.2% to 0.5%, a full 80 times higher than that of a commercial airline pilot. It's just as a line from the movie Born to Fly describes. Test flight is a battlefield without smoke. Besides victory, we have no other choice. Number 8, stunt performer. Have you ever considered that the people who most deserve an Oscar might not be the main creative team, but the stunt performers working behind the scenes? Behind every high-difficulty stunt is the luck of having gambled with one's life and won. The stunning shipwreck in Pirates of the Caribbean, the explosions in King Kong, the street chases and glass-shattering scenes in The Dark Knight, and the flipping of a semi-truck. These thrilling scenes are each more breathtaking than the last. They burn through money and are a common feature of the highest-grossing films of the 21st century. But when you see these scenes in the theater, it means that Hollywood stunt performers, like soldiers, are on set every day crashing cars, being set on fire, and making life-threatening jumps. Every action looks spectacular, making you hold your breath for them. Take Jackie Chan, for example. For the best possible on-screen result, he insists on performing his own stunts. As a famous actor, he naturally receives a lot of attention on set, and the crew's safety precautions are as thorough as possible. Even so, he has been seriously injured many times and has had numerous near-death experiences, leading people to joke that he's an actor with 100 lives. One of his most serious accidents occurred in 1986 while filming Armor of God. During a scene where he had to jump onto a tree, the branch unexpectedly broke. When Jackie Chan landed, he fell directly onto a rock, and blood immediately began pouring from his ear. If it weren't for a bit of luck, one of the world's best neurosurgeons happened to be giving a lecture nearby. The Jackie Chan we know today might not exist. Nowadays, of course, most actors wouldn't dare perform such stunts. Some new generation actors even need to be rushed to the hospital for a small scrape, lest the wound heals on its own. Therefore, these dangerous actions can only be completed by stunt performers. In the big dive vat of the entertainment industry, popularity is linked to treatment. The level of attention a film crew gives to a stunt double is certainly not the same as for a famous actor. Therefore, accidents involving stunt doubles have become a common occurrence on set. In July 2017, stuntman John Bernecker died from blunt force trauma after accidentally falling from a 30-foot platform while filming The Walking Dead. That same month, stuntwoman Joy S.J. Harris died in a motorcycle accident while filming Deadpool 2. Between 1980 and 1990 alone, there were 40 stunt-related deaths in the United States. To say that stunt performers live on a knife's edge is no exaggeration at all. Number 7. Alaskan crab fisherman. Would you be tempted by a job that pays $3 million for only 5 days of work a year? This job is catching king crabs in Alaska. These plump, large crabs are a favorite for many foodies. Even though the price is high, people are willing to pay for them. Alaskan king crabs only live in cold, deep-sea waters. Catching crabs here is no different from making a deal with the Grim Reaper. Because the crab fishing season is very short, the fishermen must work desperately during these 5 days, including time for eating and sleeping. They get less than 4 hours of rest each day. Extreme fatigue, combined with the cold sea wind, the ice-covered deck, and giant waves. Each of these dangers is a life-or-death test. This job is one of the highest-paying and also one of the most dangerous professions in the world. The work-related death rate is 50 times that of an average worker. It can be said that during every crab fishing season, on average, one person per boat will lose their life at sea. After hearing this, Would you still dare to take this job with a $3 million salary? Number 6, coal miner. How dangerous is being a coal miner? It's no exaggeration to say it's a life or death situation. Coal mining is a traditional industry, yet to this day, it remains one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. Taking China as an example. In a single year, China produced about 35% of the world's coal, yet accounted for 80% of the deaths in coal mining accidents. Especially for those born in the 80s and 90s in mainland China, the words mining disaster are among the darkest terms from their childhood. Every now and then, you would hear on the news about another mining disaster somewhere. In 1942, after the Japanese invasion of northeast China, a gas explosion occurred at the Bengsu Colliery in Liaoning. To protect the mineral resources and equipment, the Japanese mine owners stopped sending air into the mine, directly causing the deaths of 1,549 people. In 1906, a gas explosion in a coal mine in northern France killed 2/3 of the miners. The death toll reached 1,099, including many children, making it the most severe mining disaster in European history. Many people, when they think of mining, probably imagine a group of people carrying tools, digging a hole, and then transporting things from underground to the surface. This seemingly simple task is actually fraught with danger. Miners can never predict what might happen in the next second. From the moment they go down the shaft, they are already in danger. If it were wartime, these miners would be like soldiers charging into an enemy encirclement with wooden sticks. How could they possibly escape from the enemy's bullets and shells unscathed? Looking at past accidents, most mining disasters fall into several categories: roof collapses, pit collapses, flooding, fires, explosions, and gas poisoning. Roof and pit collapses in particular account for almost 30% of mining accidents. Mining is essentially digging a large hole underground. You can imagine, once the space below is empty, the rocks and soil from above will naturally fall to fill it. This is a natural phenomenon that humans cannot reverse. The only thing we can do is constantly install support structures to hold up the mine. But relying on these wooden planks to fight against nature is a fool's dream. If the support structures are not installed properly, or if there are geological changes, the roof can collapse at any time. The rocks and soil from above will cave in an instant, giving people almost no chance to call for help. Even if they manage to hide in a safe corner, the oxygen will quickly run out, leaving them with no escape. If they accidentally dig into an underground or surface river, water will quickly flood the mine until it is completely full. Another common mining disaster is a gas explosion. This is because there's a large amount of gas around the coal seams, and mining produces a lot of dust. The mine is like a bomb that could detonate at any moment. The slightest spark can inevitably cause a disaster. In addition to this, miners are plagued by various occupational diseases, the most common being pneumoconiosis, black lung disease, for which there is almost no cure. Number 5, aircraft carrier ground crew. Taking off from the ground is not an easy task, let alone from the sea. Therefore, an aircraft carrier is also called the most dangerous 4.5 acres. Especially for the ground crew working on the carrier, a small mistake can be fatal. The carrier's deck is mainly used for launching and landing aircraft. The jet's exhaust spews hot, high-speed airflow, accompanied by tremendous noise. A moment of carelessness can lead to burns, being blown directly into the sea, or even being sucked into an engine. A tragic incident once occurred on a U.S. aircraft carrier. An inspector named Lawrence was checking a jet's catapult hook and did not leave the deck in time. His luck was terrible. He happened to be there when the fighter jet started up early. This 4-year veteran was sucked directly into the jet's air intake because of this mistake, leaving no remains. And this was during peacetime. If a real battle were to occur, the danger level of these 4.5 acres would skyrocket. Number 4, construction site, water ghost. How much is a life worth? Perhaps the words of this man covered in mud are more convincing. His profession is an engineering diver, but people are more familiar with another name. The legendary construction site, water ghost, who gets $20,000 for coming up, but their family gets $2 million if they don't. During the piling stage of a construction project, it's inevitable that a drill bit will fall off into the pile hole. If it cannot be retrieved in time, that pile position will be abandoned, affecting all subsequent work. This is when the water ghost is needed. The job doesn't sound particularly difficult or requires special skills. The reason for the high pay is simply because the death rate is extremely high. On average, for every 100 people in this profession, 11 die in accidents. For them, every dive is a gamble with their life. A diving suit, an oxygen tube, and a safety rope, that's all their equipment. The inside of the borehole is not clear water, but a high-concentration mud slurry. When entering this borehole, which is tens of meters deep, the water ghost can't see anything. They are trapped in a dark, claustrophobic environment where anything can happen. Many water ghosts, after one dive, don't dare to go down again for a long time because the feeling is like being buried alive in mud. Moving in the slurry is physically exhausting. If they are unlucky and run out of energy, they will be left in the mud forever. Initially, few people did this job. Coupled with the high death rate, the pay for one dive was about 80,000 new Taiwan dollars. Because the money was good, many were still willing to risk their lives. Now, the pay for one dive is less than 10,000 yuan. Number 3, forest firefighter. When we talk about firefighters, everyone is familiar with them. But few people pay attention to the job of a forest firefighter. Their battlefield is not in the city, but in the forest. They face a much harsher working environment than urban firefighters. Remember the California wildfires at the beginning of this year? It took American firefighters nearly a month to barely control the raging wildfire. The state was almost burned to a crisp. Why does it take so long to extinguish a large fire? A wildfire is different from a regular fire. Generally, a fire scene's environment can be classified as regular, dangerous, or emergency. The air temperature in a regular fire scene is 10 to 60 degrees Celsius. An ordinary person can barely cope within this temperature range. If you need to call the fire department for help, the fire scene is already considered dangerous. The temperature is usually between 60 and 300 degrees Celsius. The most dangerous situation is the third level, an emergency fire environment, where temperatures are often between 300 and 1,000 degrees Celsius. Once a fire spreads to this extent, even with professional fire-resistant gear, personnel safety cannot be guaranteed. Wildfires fall into this third, most dangerous category. Try to extinguish a wildfire with just a few fire trucks is wishful thinking. The 3 elements of combustion are fuel, an oxidizer, and an ignition source. A forest is full of fuel, and the oxygen in the air is the most common oxidizer. Therefore, the probability of a wildfire is much higher than other fire situations. A single cigarette butt or a lightning strike can start a wildfire. What's more terrifying is that the flames of a wildfire can often reach heights of tens of meters. From a distance, you can see the entire mountain forest ablaze. The speed of human intervention is slower than the speed at which the fire spreads. The temperature of the entire fire scene exceeds 300 degrees Celsius, which is simply unbearable for humans. The thick smoke produced by burning trees is also a fatal threat. If you happen to be standing in the wrong direction, a gust of wind can cause you to inhale a large amount of smoke. This doesn't just harm your organs, it can cost you your life. So, there's no such thing as a peaceful life in this world. It's just that these people are carrying the weight for you. Number 2, logger. Money can be earned again, but you only have one life. Perhaps we have overlooked that the most dangerous jobs are often hidden right beside us, in the industries we most easily ignore. Logging, a seemingly ordinary job, actually has a terrifying nickname, the Widowmaker. In 2013, the U.S. Department of Labor released statistics showing that in 2012, a total of 4,384 workers died in the country, 62 of whom were loggers. The mortality rate was as high as 127.8 per 100,000, making it the most dangerous job in America. You might think that when life gets tiring, going back to your hometown to be a logger like Loggervik would be a happy life. But it turns out being a logger is even more terrifying than working in the city. The most common danger loggers face is being struck by falling objects. They can never accurately predict which way a tree will fall. As you see in the video, when a tree is cut down, it can create a chain reaction, hitting other trees and causing them to fall uncontrollably. When this happens, no matter where the logger stands, the risk is extremely high. In addition, the chainsaws, axes, and flying debris from logging can all be deadly threats. If you're unlucky and disturb a sleeping bear, the consequences are even more severe. Therefore, before loggers can start working, they must undergo rigorous training and master climbing and escape skills. Even in the United States, which has the best occupational protections, nearly 130 out of every 100,000 loggers die. Just as the bear says, money can be earned again, but you only have one life. Number 1, war correspondent. When we talk about danger, we often use the battlefield as a comparison. But for those whose workplace is the battlefield, what can their danger be compared to? Whenever the horn of war sounds, it's not just soldiers who rush to the front lines, but also war correspondents. Since the beginning of recorded history, whenever a war has broken out, the mortality rate for journalists embedded with troops has remained stubbornly high. They must work amidst a hail of bullets, facing the brutality of war directly. Moreover, they're in an environment of constant conflict, making their survival conditions even harsher than those of soldiers. When faced with extremely horrific scenes, war correspondents must not only withstand the psychological pressure, but also capture these shocking images to transmit the war situation back to the rear in a timely manner. What's more terrifying is that on the modern battlefield, journalists trying to get first-hand information are often more likely to become targets. Their casualty rate is even higher than that of ordinary soldiers. In 2012, a total of 39 war correspondents died on the front lines worldwide, accounting for 30% of all journalist deaths that year. During the Iraq War in 2003, 12 journalists from 9 countries were killed or injured in a single day due to friendly fire from the U.S. military, which became known as the Sad Day for war correspondents. Being a war correspondent isn't something you can do just by carrying a camera. It requires a profound belief in journalism and a dauntless spirit of, I will go forward, though tens of thousands stand against me. Of these 10 dangerous jobs, which one moved you the most? Let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Global's best updates daily. See you tomorrow.